and 20s, but I'll show you what changes in the next 24 hours to bring us a big warm up.
DMV hours cut. Starting today, offices will open an hour later. The department facing criticism as customer service and long wait times are still happening. Plus, Super Bowl 60, the Seattle Seahawks taking home the win. We're going to show you the biggest highlights from the night. Well, thanks so much for waking up with us here dark and early this Monday morning at 4:30. We appreciate you watching WRAL News. I'm Chris Lovingood. We'll swing over to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, who's going to get you started with our weather. Our temperatures, Elizabeth, in the teens.
Yeah, it's really cold out there. It's not as windy as it was over the weekend, where we had a bitter wind chill and some cold weather advisories, but it is 16 degrees right now. Fortunately, with the wind at 0, we don't have much of a wind chill. I've added it up there just in case we do see it in a few places, and like Rocky Mount feels like 10, or the temperature is 17. The wind chill is in the white box on the right, and the temperature is on the left. It's 20 in Southern Pines, 22 in Fayetteville and Clinton. It's 12 in Roxborough and 13 in South Hill. But everything changes in the next 24 hours as we switch our winds. This is a look at our forecast. It's likely to be right around freezing at 11 o'clock, and then we only climb into the mid-40s. So today does stay chilly, but we'll see plenty of sunshine coming up. I'm going to walk you through the changes and just how much warmer it gets starting tomorrow.
I could go for changes. Thank you, Elizabeth. Well, police in Raleigh are looking for a man they say stabbed his girlfriend last night. The stabbing happened on Tidrow Terrace near Garner Road, and police say the woman was stabbed in her abdomen. She was taken to the hospital with serious injuries, and we are working to learn more about the victim and what led up to that stabbing. Well, today, public safety will be on the minds of state lawmakers. After several high-profile crimes in the state, they're working to find solutions. Let's go ahead and bring in Ali Kabdabar. She's outside the legislative building in Raleigh live this morning. Ali, a hearing today concerns a story that gained national attention, the stabbing of Irina Zarutska in Charlotte.
And Chris, today we're going to see at least 6 officials from the Charlotte area walk into the state capitol building. They're going to be in the hot seat as state lawmakers question them on public safety. Now, this comes around nearly 6 months after the death of Irina Zarutska on a city commuter train. Prosecutors accused Carlos Brown of stabbing and killing her. Invitations sent to Charlotte, Mecklenburg County officials referenced that stabbing, and Charlotte Mayor Vi Lyles and Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden are among the officials set to speak at this hearing. WRAL state government reporter Paul Spey explains how recent court rulings may play a role in lawmakers' questions.
What will be interesting to see is how specific they get in the details of this case. Committee leaders say a judge's recent ruling limits how much they can talk about the suspect.
And so that hearing is set to start at 9 a.m. WRAL will be there. You can check back on WRAL.com for those updates. Reporting live in Raleigh, Ali Kabdabar, WRAL News.
An effort from the DMV to shorten wait times and get more people through the door is over. Extended early morning hours have come to an end. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live outside the Avon Ferry DMV in Raleigh. Kelsey, starting today, doors once again won't open until 8 a.m.
Yes, Chris, this morning, 90 DMVs across the state will adjust their early morning hours, including this location here on Avon Ferry Road. Officials say that this is because of exhaustion of federal funding. These offices will open at 8 a.m. instead of 7 a.m. They were open earlier to offer additional customer service time and help address high demand. According to the DMV's website, appointments can only be made up to 7 days in advance. You can't book a time slot up to 90 days ahead of time. That's designed to help the DMV manage demand by directing customers to offices that could have more capacity in a given week. We spoke with customers who traveled to a different city for DMV services and still waited in line for hours.
I still spent close to 4 to 5 hours before I got concluded,
4 to 5 hours?
Yes.
Wow. And I just checked the DMV website for appointments in Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. No appointments available there or really across our entire viewing area. But there is some good news. New appointments will always be available at midnight every weekday except for the holidays. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Well, the DMV is opening the second of 4 new driver's licenses office today, and that'll be in Leland and Brunswick County. The office will provide service only for walk-in customers at first. Appointment scheduling will begin in March. And commercial driver's licenses and motorcycle skills testing will not be provided. 2 additional offices are scheduled to open later this year, one in Fuquay Varina and a location to be determined in Cabarrus County. The search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie in Arizona is entering its 2nd week. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie and her siblings made a new public plea over the weekend. They say they will pay to get their mother back. Here's what we know so far. In a ransom note, there is a demand for $6 million in Bitcoin by 5 p.m. today. Investigators believe Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will from her home more than a week ago. Right now, there are still no suspects. And authorities were also seen at the home of Savannah's sister, Annie, over the weekend, but it's unclear what they were looking for there. The sentencing hearing for the 2022 Hedingham shooting will resume tomorrow. The Austin Thompson killed 5 people and then hurt 2 others when he was 15 years old. The judge will decide, though, if Thompson will be eligible for parole. Thompson's brother was one of his victims, and in a confession note, Thompson said he killed his brother because he was going to get in the way. On Friday, prosecutors focused on Thompson's internet searches. They say his searches were similar to those of other mass shooters. And WRAL will be in court tomorrow, streaming every moment of the hearing on our YouTube channel. A man is in jail after police say he shot and killed a woman in a community center parking lot. Roanoke Rapids police arrested Willie Holmes after that shooting. Officers found the victim, Priscilla Key, shot outside the Kirkwood Adams Community Center, and she later died at the hospital. Police say she and Holmes were arguing before the shooting, and Holmes is charged with murder. He's being held without bond. Investigators are also working to learn what caused a large fire in Fayetteville. This happened early yesterday morning at a storage facility on Ramsey Street. Firefighters say the water they used to put the fire out froze, and well, that made the area slick and dangerous, but no one was injured. A federal judge is now stepping in to open early voting sites at 3 public North Carolina universities. Now, Democrats and students asked for the sites in Greensboro and Jackson County to be opened ahead of the state's upcoming primary. The state and 2 local election boards voted against doing this, and the judge said changing plans this close to voting could cause confusion. Early in-person voting for the March 3rd primary starts Thursday. Well, today, lawmakers returned to Washington with just days to find a funding solution on homeland security. Democrats are demanding reforms to federal immigration enforcement. Their list of requirements include requiring immigration enforcement agents to wear body cameras and removing face masks, among other conditions. Certain Republican lawmakers have indicated openness to some of those demands, but other demands are seeing more pushback. Missing Friday's deadline would not cause a full government shutdown, as the deadline is for an agreement to provide funding for just DHS. Well, the Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl champions, and their defense, really smothered New England Patriots quarterback Drake May all game long. They sacked May 6 times, just one shy of a Super Bowl record. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III was named the game's MVP. He ran for 135 yards, and that is the most any player has had in a Super Bowl in nearly 30 years. The Seahawks ended up winning the game 29-13, and it is the 2nd time the Seahawks have won the Super Bowl. And Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny took the stage for the Super Bowl halftime show. His performance included cameos from Lady Gaga, even Ricky Martin, and it also featured an actual wedding. Many on social media praised that show, but President Donald Trump was not one of these people. In a post to Truth Social, he called it, quote, one of the worst ever halftime shows and a slap in the face to our country. Well, here is what we are looking at right now for the Olympic Games. The USA women's hockey team will be back on the ice playing Switzerland. Curling and luge competitions move forward, and ice dancing gets started. We'll, of course, see medals awarded in 5 events: freestyle skiing, alpine skiing, speed skating, snowboarding, and ski jumping. Yesterday at the Games, Team USA's figure skating team won gold. How about that? And that win was secured with this performance in the men's free skate there. Elia Malinin and American Breezy Johnson won gold in the women's downhill skiing event. Her win came after teammate Lindsey Vonn crashed. Vonn suffered a broken leg in that crash. Oof. And that's the same leg she suffered a torn ACL and when she crashed just over a week earlier. Well, coming into today, Italy is at the top of the medal count. Norway, Japan, Austria, and Germany, they round out the top 5. Team USA is tied for 6th in the medal count with those 2 gold medals. Your time is 4:39 today. Pushing for transparency. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein took their message to the Super Bowl stage. The move to keep the pressure on the DOJ for full accountability. And we do want to give you a live look this morning at Pittsburgh. From teens up to 60s. How about that? Meteorologist Elizabeth Garner will show you what's causing another wild shift in temperatures.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
4:43. It's clear outside, so we do have the top of the tower lit in blue this morning. It's cold out there, though. Our temperatures are mostly in the teens. There are a few spots in the 20s. In Fayetteville, 22 right now. It's 20 in Southern Pines, but 16 in Raleigh, Durham, and in Roanoke Rapids. 17 in Wilson, as well as Rocky Mount. It's a cold start out there, but we're about to change things up. You're still going to want to, head out bundled up to walk the dog this morning. Gloves are going to feel good as you have to hold on to the leash, and maybe your dog wants his sweater as well. Our highs only in the mid-40s, which is a good bit below normal. Coming up, I'm going to show you the change in the pattern that'll bring us temperatures well above normal.
We'll see in just a little bit, Elizabeth. Thank you. Happening today, the Durham County Board of Commissioners will meet to vote on budget amendments. And one of the amendments they will discuss is funding for the Department of Social Services PEAS project. The program helps provide nutritional support to eligible older adults. And today's meeting is at 6 p.m. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein took their push for transparency to the Super Bowl stage. A PSA aired during the game urging Americans to pressure the U.S. Attorney General to release what they say are still hidden Epstein records. Survivors say using one of the most watched events of the year keeps the pressure on the DOJ for full accountability. And anti-ICE protests in Santa Clara used the national spotlight of the Super Bowl to denounce U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. Demonstrators handed out rally towels near the stadium, and on the towels were the words, "ICE out." Security for the Super Bowl was planned for the last 18 months. More than 35 federal, state, and local authorities were there, including ICE. Pope Leo XIV is not planning on visiting the U.S. this year, despite speculation that he could. An Italian media report suggested Leo could return to his home country to visit the UN to mark the 250th anniversary of the U.S. However, the Holy See press office said yesterday that Leo, quote, will not go to the United States in 2026, end quote. The White House says Leo has an open invitation to visit the U.S. The DOJ is looking into Netflix and whether it is engaging in anti-competitive business practices. A Wall Street Journal report says the DOJ is concerned Netflix could become a monopoly if it acquires Warner Brothers. Netflix bid more than $82 billion to make that purchase, but then Paramount made an offer of its own, starting a bidding war. The DOJ is also reviewing Paramount's offer. Will Lewis announced that he is stepping down as publisher and CEO of the Washington Post, and this news was announced Saturday. This was just days after the Post laid off about a third of its staff. Lewis wrote in a note to staff, quote, "After 2 years of transformation at the Washington Post, now is the time for me to step aside," end quote. CFO Jeff D'Onofrio will take over as acting publisher and CEO. President Donald Trump is moving to quadruple the amount of beef imported from Argentina under a trade deal reached last year. Trump signed an executive order Friday to temporarily expand beef imports. He says that will help lower the cost of ground beef to consumers. However, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association doesn't believe the move will lower beef prices, and it says increased imports without more inspection protocols could put Americans at risk of foreign diseases. The U.S. birth rate is going down after a slight increase in 2025, and this comes from newly released CDC data. It shows just over 3.6 million births last year, and that's about 24,000 fewer than 2024. Experts say the decline could be economic uncertainty, one of the reasons, including concerns over health insurance. If you want to keep your heart healthy for years to come, doctors say there are some small steps that you can take right now. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic believe there are 3 things you can do to protect your cardiac health. Regular exercise strengthens your heart and helps control blood pressure and cholesterol. You should maintain a heart-healthy specific diet and try to avoid smoking and alcohol. Doctors say that it's also important to know your family's heart history.
Family history is one of the most important risk factors for cardiac events, so heart attack and stroke in specific. So knowing your first degree relatives, such as your parents, your brothers or sisters, siblings, and also your children.
Ensuring your doctors know your history can help them better assess your risk and take preventative action. All right, let's go ahead and swing over to right now the big talker weather-wise this morning. You're waking up and it's not just chilly outside. It's cold, Elizabeth. Teens out there temperature-wise.
It is. Again, it's been a pretty long stretch of some pretty cold temperatures, and we're going to tack today onto that and then really change things up for tomorrow. So also watching the chance of some precipitation toward the end of the week. Right now it looks like rain. A couple days ago, like Saturday, some of the models were trying to, maybe show a little little wintry mix, but at this point, none of that's really showing up. Another very cold night, I should say, tonight. Lows are in the teens and 20s as you're heading out the door, but starting tomorrow, our highs climb into the 60s, so it's going to be a big jump in temperature, and I'll show you why. Right now, we're looking at clear skies over downtown Raleigh. Current temperature 16. Fortunately, we don't have much of a wind out there, so no wind chill, but we'll be in the teens all the way up until around 9 a.m. This is a look at temperatures right around the triangle. It's 15 in Durham, 19 in Wake Forest, 22 in Apex, 18 in Fuquay Varina. How many mornings do we normally see in the teens in a winter? If you look all the way back to 75 years, in the last 75 years, we typically see around 10, and that's what we've seen so far this winter, and we still have several weeks left. If you look at the last 5 years, though, we've only seen 3, so this is definitely an unusual winter compared to what we've seen over the last 5 or even 10 years, where we've averaged 4 of them. So we're going to put this to the side for a little while, and maybe we'll be done with overnight lows in the teens. We shall see. This high pressure system starts to build in from the west. High pressure systems rotate clockwise, so that's what's going to start to push that warmth up from the south into our area, and that will allow our temperatures to climb on up into the 60s. So you can see our temperature change. We're still cold right now. You see the blue shaded colors there, but as we get into the day tomorrow, we see all this warmth that comes streaming in, and temperatures will be above normal Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we start to see a bit of a cool off once we get into Thursday and Friday, but closer to normal. 52 Thursday, 50 Friday, after 64 tomorrow and 60 on Wednesday. We have the potential for above average temperatures after we get past the weekend, so we'll see how that plays out. But right now, for Valentine's weekend, it looks like it may be on the rainy side, and high temperatures should be near normal at around 50 degrees. You can see that Saturday and Sunday, looking like a bit of a rainy weekend, but at this point, it just looks like rain.
All right, thank you for that, Elizabeth. Your time is 4:49 this morning. One battle after another. A documentary looks at the fight over free expression, and Paul Thomas Anderson with another win. The new shows and films coming to your screens. Plus, Team Fluff wins. The Super Bowl wasn't the only big game this weekend. All the furry action from the 22nd Puppy Bowl. Your time is 4:53 this morning. The Buddhist monks are just one day away from completing their Walk for Peace. Their 2,300-mile journey will come to an end in D.C., and today they'll walk from Alexandria, Virginia to Marymount University in Arlington. They'll begin their final walk to the National Mall on Wednesday, and they'll give their last remarks at a peace gathering at the Lincoln Memorial. After 110 days of walking across America, they will return to Texas, where they are based. The battle over books and free expression, plus another win for one battle after another. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
So I have a new roommate now.
Hi, Grace.
Together, we're pretty smart, but no one's ever done this before.
It is time go.
I think you're being go time, pal.
Here's a look at the final trailer for Project Hail Mary. Ryan Gosling plays a science teacher sent into space to discover why the sun is dying. Project Hail Mary, based on the novel by The Martian writer Andy Weir, opens in IMAX and other theaters March 20th.
You know what freedom is?
What?
No fear. Go!
Paul Thomas Anderson appears to be in the driver's seat in this year's Oscars race. The Directors Guild of America has given the One Battle After Another director its top prize. The DGA winner has gone on to win the Oscar for Best Director in each of the last 5 years.
If you would have asked me 10 years ago if I was going to have security concerns at a librarian conference, I would have been like, you're nuts.
The Librarians looks at the battle over books with race-related and LGBTQIA+ content and the consequences for education, free expression, and what it means to be a librarian. The Independent Lens documentary debuts today on PBS and the PBS app. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Well, all eyes weren't just on the Super Bowl on Sunday. Hours earlier, Team Rough took on Team Fluff in the Puppy Bowl. The game featured more than 150 dogs from 72 shelters across the country. It was Team Fluff, though, that won its second consecutive championship and took home the Lombardi Trophy. The final score was 73-69, and if you didn't know, this game helps raise awareness for animal shelters and rescue groups across the country. The North Carolina Aquarium at Fort Fisher is asking the public to help name its 3 baby otters. The Asian small-clawed otter pups were born last month. Name option 1, Koshi, Barry, and Seti. Option 2, Bo, Eddie, and Reed. And option 3, Nix, Baloo, and Bodie. You can pick your top names at the aquarium's website, or you can vote in person at the aquarium. But voting ends on Thursday, February 19th. Ahead at 5 o'clock, extended hours end. Why the DMV is opening an hour later in the mornings as the department faces criticism over customer service. Plus, Seattle Seahawks taking home the Lombardi Trophy after dominating the New England Patriots. The best moments from the big game, including the halftime show. And debate over the Dean Dome. The conversation over the future of the beloved but aging UNC basketball sports venue.